Welcome back. Take Control of Your Life podcast. I believe this is the first episode I've done since we rebranded to the Take Control of Your Life podcast where I had other people on the podcast. So this week I have Coach Matt and Coach Greg, and we're going to discuss the different types of protein and the quality of protein you can be taking in. And so Greg is our nutrition coach, and what you find is we focus on protein and calorie intake first. And what happens is people will go out and, not everyone, but they want to start supplementing their protein, and different things can happen inside of the body when you're getting pure protein sources. So maybe talk about, without naming any names, talk about what you've seen as a nutrition coach and what they can do better to get better quality protein intake through food.
Yeah, well, like you said, I think when you give folks a protein goal when they're not used to tracking protein, it can be a little overwhelming for them. So they think I have to supplement immediately. And I just want to break down the word real quick. Supplement. You are supplementing it for something that you typically cannot get or you cannot reach. And it should be used as a supplement, not as a replacement. So if I give you 100 grams of protein for a goal and you're like, well, I'm not going to hit that. I'm going to drink 3 protein shakes and eat a protein bar every day. I'm going to get my protein in. That is really going to mess with your system. And typically what you're going to see is one of two things. It's either going to really bind you up on the back end, or it's going to make you really loose on the back end. Your body is not used to that. So what we want to try to focus on is more natural sources of protein, which is typically any kind of meat, any meat whatsoever. But there's also other sources out there. Eggs, cheese has some protein in it. Black beans is a great source. And I think a lot of people don't realize that it's okay to eat some meat. It's okay to eat an 80-20 burger. You can do that. Your body needs fat as well as it needs a protein. And I think that word fat scares a lot of people, but when you're just taking protein supplements, you're not getting that fat that your body also needs. So that's something they really need to keep in mind.
Yeah, I know it was a common thing back in the 90s that people thought if they cut fat out of their diet, they would start losing fat. And it's not. It really is calories in versus calories out. Your body breaks down the different macronutrients in different ways and uses energy in different ways. And actually keeping your protein up increases your thermic energy. Mm-hmm. So you actually burn more calories digesting protein versus digesting carbs and fat. But what do you see? So what's your recommendation if someone's not able to hit protein through whole foods? And whole foods, we mean stuff that comes from the ground or it's breathing.
Mm-hmm.
If they need to supplement, how much can they supplement per day?
I don't like people to use more than 1 shake a day. And if they need a protein bar, I'm okay with that. But no more than 1 and 1. You have to have those natural sources of protein. And I was going to say what you just said. Your body breaks down those whole foods differently. It burns hotter trying to break those down. So you're burning more calories. When you're putting these supplements into it, yes, you're getting the protein in, but your body is not necessarily burning it, or it's burning through it so quick because it doesn't have any substance to it. So the more whole foods, the better off you're going to be.
Can you give us a couple, because I know you work with people who have busy lifestyles, and you have stay-at-home moms, and you have people who work from home. What are some things they can do if they're struggling to eat on the go or meal prep? Give us one for meal prepping, like if they struggle to eat breakfast or something. One if they're eating on the go, because I know that's an easy one. The shake is an easy on the go thing, but what is another whole foods that they can do? And then maybe just one of dealer's choice. What's another thing that you see people struggle with?
One of my favorites, not only for breakfast, but also very easy on the go, is boiled eggs. I mean, you can boil a dozen of eggs, or 2 dozen eggs if you're like me. You can boil a ton of eggs. They'll last in the fridge. 3 or 4 eggs is going to get you about 22 grams of protein. 2 eggs, I think, is equal to 10 grams. So, and it's got some natural fat in it. and that's okay. So you're getting 10 grams of protein, and I want to say around 6 grams of fat.
That's with the yolk, right?
That is with the yolk. Yeah, you can do egg whites as well.
That's pure protein.
That's pure protein. So those are 2 good options. Me, I tend to watch my sodium levels a good bit. I've had a ton of lower body injury, so I have to watch the sodium just so my body doesn't swell. But another great snack, I use a company called Chomps. They're beef sticks. Those are really good. Or they have some no sugar jerky out there now that I really like, and it's even a little lower in sodium. So that's really easy when you're in the car. It's making your body work. Your body has to break that down. And I think people forget about black beans. Black beans is one of my favorite, especially for a dinner option, but you can use black beans in so many different things. Throw it in a chili, throw it in a soup, tacos. Black beans are great on tacos, salsa. You're talking about natural vegetables, and throw some black beans in there for some protein.
Matt?
I learned this from a buddy when I was in the military, and I will still do it nowadays whenever I actually remember to do it. But for like people who struggle in the morning time because they want to sleep in, overnight oats, you spend maybe 10 minutes the night before. You prep your oats for the morning, stick in the fridge, you come out, protein's pretty high throughout that, and get set up for the morning. You don't have to worry about trying to cook a breakfast or anything. It's just right there.
Yep.
You guys did the overnight oats. What is the protein source in that? You get some from the dairy.
Yeah. Depending on the milk you use or whatever. Trying to remember off the top of my head. And the nice thing with overnight oats, you can make it to your liking. You can put fresh fruit.
I'd throw fruit, honey, nuts, a little bit of peanut butter in there. Yeah,
those are the protein sources.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. And you mentioned nuts. Nuts are a great protein source. Do they have fat? Yeah. But I'm not near as worried about your fat intake as I am your protein, especially out of the gate. But I highly recommend almonds and pistachios. I've never done nuts in the overnight oats, but we did a lot of blueberries and then some raspberries or strawberries as well.
I think that's a good point to tell the listeners too, is you focus on protein intake and caloric intake. You don't necessarily care about the other 2 macronutrients. We need them both, but when someone starts out, they struggle to hit all 3. So rather than giving them 4 different things to focus on, calories, and then the 3 macros, 1 macro, and then backfill your calories with whatever you want. It makes it easier to hit your calorie goal, and then your main focus is just protein.
Right. And that's what I've been telling everyone new signing up with me is I just want you to hit protein for the day. If you hit your protein goal at 4 o'clock, guess what? You can eat what you want after 4 o'clock. But we'll adjust those numbers when it's time to get there. But protein stays with you longer, fills you up longer, takes your body longer to burn. So if you're getting all of your protein in by 4 o'clock, I'm definitely going to be upping your protein. But you need that protein to keep you fuller longer. And then when I say you can eat whatever you want, you're not going to feel like eating the junk. You're not going to be craving all that other stuff because your body is telling you it's already full.
I'm sure we've done 4 or 5 episodes on protein and nutrition, and I'm sure that people who listen to us weekly are like, we're talking about protein again, but we are, because it is one of the most important pieces of the puzzle when it comes to athletic development, weight loss, weight gain. Like your protein,
muscle,
it's the secret code to the results that you want.
Right.
And until you crack that secret code that we just threw out the secret, you're not going to hit the results that you want in the time that you want.
And if we want to talk about the other macros real quick, let's just talk about carbohydrates. You can find a carbohydrate, I don't care what kind of store you're in. It can be, you can get Ace Hardware and they're going to have snacks up front and it's going to be all carbs and all fat. Grocery stores, whatever. Carbs are everywhere. Carbs are not hard to get in. Protein, they take a little more work. Your meats need cooked. You know, cheeses need to be processed. I'm sure you're not processing your own cheese, but you know, does it take 10 minutes to cook a steak? Yeah, but it's worth it. And I just want to use one of my folks as an example. I'm not going to say their name, but you know, they had a hard time dealing with eating more, and you know, they were worried about not only the protein intake but the fat intake. This person got them basically eating a ribeye steak a day, and I'm not talking about a 4-ounce ribeye. I'm talking about probably 12-ounce ribeye. And all of a sudden, man, weight just started flying off this person. So why that fat number is important, like people should not be eating 150 grams of fat a day unless you're working out for 6 hours a day, pretty much. But why that fat number is important, the amount of protein in that steak is causing that body to burn, and that fat is not sticking to them. It's helping their hormones and everything else. So
We tried to do a podcast with this person, and I messed up and forgot to change the microphones over, so we didn't have any audio to it. But
yeah, we need to get them back on.
yeah, I think that's a good place to end it. I also want to plug, if you're a member here at CrossFit Control, we have a free 28-day nutrition guide that's a PDF, and we have a free 12-week nutrition course. So utilize both of those resources, and then Greg's also available for nutrition. Do you have openings?
Yes.
So
Always taking openings.
if you're struggling, and we all are, honestly, but if you're struggling with what to do, he takes out the guesswork. So reach out to him if you're interested.
And eat your protein.